Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us at our HRD Spotlight session. My name is Rowana, and we're delighted to have you here. Let's see, just working technology at the same time, if I can, letting you all in. Okay, welcome, everyone. If you're just joining us, welcome to our Spotlight session on the lab today. Delighted to have you here, and would love to know how you say welcome or greet each other in your mother tongue. So could we invite you in the chat just to share, how do you say welcome? I'm from Scotland, and in Scotland, we have our native tongue historically would be Gaelic, and we would say Falcha. And joining me today, we have Walid and Marianna. Walid, where are you joining us from?
From Dubai.
And how do you say welcome or hello here?
As you guys know, I'm a bit of those mix. So if I have to welcome someone in Arabic, I would say ahlan sahlan. And if I have to use my other side, the Italian side, I will say benvenuti.
Nice. And same for you, Marianna?
Same for me. That will be benvenuti.
Nice. And Gonzalo, what about you?
Sorry, I had a phone call. I missed the question.
Oh, sorry, putting you on the spot.
Language?
I was just asking, how do you say welcome or hello in your native tongue?
Similar to Italian. In Spanish, it would be bienvenido.
Nice. Okay. So I'm seeing some in the chat. If you want to add, tell us, how do you say welcome or hello in your native language? Please feel free to share. And while people are typing in, I see more people joining us. Welcome, everyone. So today, Spotlight is going to be focusing on the lab. And Walid, do you want to give us a little bit of an overview on the lab?
Absolutely, and welcome again, everyone. I see people are continuing to join. I'm just wondering, Rohana, if we maybe give it another minute, because I don't see many people joining us far. Maybe they're running late. So if that's okay with you, we give it another minute or so.
Sure, absolutely.
Just, worry that we're going to be missing out on people.
I see Cornish in the chat, and I'm going to attempt it. And Matt, you can tell me if I get it wildly wrong. Is it Dinarch? Dinarch? I feel like I've just like.
I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't be 100% on the pronunciation either, so that's how I'd say it.
Dinarch. That's good. See, I've learned something new. Thanks, Matt. What else have we got? Mohammed Singh Salamat. Oh, and we've got some Swahili. Karibu Sana. Love it. Thanks, Diana. Okay. And seeing what else. Okay. So, no one else want to tell me how you say hello or welcome in your language? Okay. Oh, hola. That one we can do. Thanks, Daniel. So we've got Gonzalo, you've got some Spanish speakers as well in the audience. Can throw out some Spanish if you like. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Rowana, and we are going to put the spotlight today on the lab. So we're going to hand over to Walid to give us a little bit of an overview on the lab.
Thank you, Rohana, and welcome again, everyone. See the numbers are going up, so it's I guess a good moment to start. So here we are again, yet on another spotlight. As you guys know, we have now run. This will be the fourth spotlight. It was a way that we thought to be more in contact with our UNHRD partners as to what is happening within UNHRD and and to try and give you some of the updates as they happen, rather than necessarily waiting for our yearly bi-yearly partners meetings, which at the request of some of you, we're not dashing out. We'll still gonna be maintaining our in-presence meetings as we go forward. In fact, now, and formal communication will come to you shortly in the next weeks, but we're planning for the next global partners meeting of UNHRD in May 2025. So we'll have yet another occasion to come together and discuss some of these topics, perhaps in more details and in person. But here we are today, speaking about the lab. You would recall that a couple of spotlights ago we briefed you on UNHRD's organizational chart alignment, which was the process that we followed following our strategic document, and it was, as the name suggests, aiming at relooking at UNHRD structure to ensure that our workforce was adequate to be able to reach the objectives that the strategy document had set out. So that exercise is continuing. I mean, we are at approximately 85% completion. In other words, those positions and those upgrades throughout the UNHRD staffing workforce that were presented to you during the organizational alignment spotlight have been sort of filled with staff at the rate of 85%. And as part of the organizational chart alignment, the lab was a specific focus, because we knew that all the great work that the lab had done in the past needed to be relooked at and revamped, both with new service offers, but also with a bit of restructuring on the profiles and skill sets of the people that needed to work in the lab. So what we are here today to do is to give you a little bit more on that, both on the staffing structure of the lab and the people that will be part of it, but also in terms of what are the service offers and what you as UNHRD partners can relay on the lab for. What type of services is the lab going to be able to provide to you? And also you will hear about our intention to continue in the area of innovation. We have brought to you in the past some of the updates on what happened with Initiate, the project that we're working on with WHO, that sort of was the first sort of attempt to create the conditions and the platform for our UNHRD partners in dealing with some of this innovation challenges on one side, but also opportunities, and how to frame the discussion between partners when it comes to innovation. So you will hear a bit more about that and who we are partnering with or continuing to partnering with in this realm. So without further ado, so that you don't necessarily hear my voice only, back to you, Rohana, and back to the team to walk us through.
Great, thanks, Walid. So we're going to be hearing from our lovely friends at the Innovation Accelerator. We've got Gonzalo and Jose. They'll be joining us in a little bit to tell us more about this innovation program that Walid mentioned. First of all, though, we are joined by the lovely Marianna, who is heading up the lab. Marianna, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Good to see you. Would you mind giving us a little bit more information about the lab, what it's like now, and what you guys are doing?
Sure. Thank you. So maybe I'll share my screen so I can show you a few slides to describe better what we're doing.
Great. Let's see if technology works. It does. Hurrah.
That's fantastic. All right. So thank you very much for being here today. So well, it works if it move forward. Yes, it does. Okay. So as many of you knows already, the lab is a unit based in Brindisi that supports the humanitarian partners to conceive, develop, test, and deliver and scale up chain and logistic innovation to enable partners to deliver the best their mandates. At the lab, innovation is conceived as the process of taking an idea for an inception of a reality-based humanitarian need into a positive social, economic, and environmental impact to build community resilience. The principle and the methodologies we use is that whatever we do has to be built on 3 domains, which are society, environment, and technology. And to do so, we relied on methodologies that look into, human-centered approach to any design activity, as well as planet-centric design, to ensure that whatever we do looks into the need of people, but also the environment, and ensure promoting a long-term impact and development for the community we serve. The strategy is that, given the unique position of Brindisi among the UNHCR network, the lab can provide an holistic support by drawing on internal and external teams in various stages of the innovation process. The lab strategy is therefore to leverage on great collaboration between partners, academia, private sector, to ensure the right support is given for innovation in preparedness and response. The working methods we use, and you'll hear a lot about those acronyms, are TRL and SRL mostly, which are 2 scales, technology readiness level and societal readiness level, are 2 scales that assess the development and the maturity of a technology, which means that if we there are 9 steps. The first one is the idea, the need that come from partners and from, the humanitarian sector. And 9 is actually when we have the full finished product ready to go into field. These different steps are very important for us because it allows us to ensure that the technology we work with, it's correct, and it goes through a analysis step by step of whatever we do to ensure that it's fit for field, it's right for our partner, and incorporates societal and environmental needs. And it's also a really, really good tool to ensure that we reduce risk and we control budget. And also for all of you, it's a good system to know when we're at, what we're doing, and, for us to be able to share with you all our progresses and work. This scale is applied to, this approach and this principle are applied to the main 2 streams of activity that we do, that we call incremental innovation and radical innovation. The first one looks into the constant improvement of all the products we have in stock for our partners. And it is based on the work of the Stock Task Force that you already heard from. And the other one, it's the radical innovation, where we redesign, develop, and acquire new solutions to improve the emergency response and preparedness. To support this work, we also form an innovation task force, which is formed by a group of academic and private sector experts in innovation. When we talk about incremental innovation, the service that we have for you, it's, as you might know already, the technical specification reduction, review, definition that support the initiation of procurement processes, support to logistic and strategy, technical and scientific support to partners they need, prototype, testing, design, implementation, facility provision and coordination, design, review, implementation, market research for products that are already there, training associated to products, greening and sustainability strategy definition and implementation, packaging design and optimization, and really creating an innovation network and opportunity and project development for university, private sector, and partners to come together and be able to work within our technical coordination. Within the radical innovation stream of activity, what we do is really getting through all the process to develop new product from ideation to scale up, going through design, development, acquisition of new product, engineering, technical coordination, and ensuring the new product are really fit for field through technical coordination of innovation, development implementation, technical support and evaluating companies and projects, prototype and simulation coordination, and as well research coordination with academia and other research institutions. Now, one example, as Walid already mentioned here, it's what we did with Initiate with WHO. That for those of you who are not familiar with, is an initiative that we develop in conjunction with WHO, where we're really trying to answer to one need that was brought up by the health community, which was to have an infectious disease treatment module that could serve and be useful for any sort of disease. What the lab did was being part of the core group in the design process from the early phase stages of the design until the very last simulation that we hosted like 10 days, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, in Accra, where we officially had the launch of the project. So under the point of view of the innovation development, this was a very successful story in the sense that we were able with our tool, instrument, teams, to go through the entire process and come out with a product that will be it's basically ready for market. Building on this experience, what we want to do, and you'll hear this from our colleague from the WFP Accelerator, we're actually crafting a new program because we really want to offer this opportunity to come together and going through this type of exercise to all our partners. And we start with health, but then we would be happy to move into logistic, energy, water, packaging and waste, or any other domain that the community thinks it's important to work to. So if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact us and we'll be happy to discuss this further and give you more information. And I get back to you, Roanna.
Brilliant. Thanks, Marianna. It's like a whirlwind tour of all these things. And so if anyone wants to reach out and to speak to you, to leverage some of these services, they can contact you.
Sure. We have our inbox for the UNHD lab that it's probably already known by our partners. So feel free to contact us there directly and we'll be happy to discuss and answer.
Great. And Marianne, maybe if you could pop the inbox, the email address in the chat when you have a sec so people know how they can contact you. And for everyone, if you have got questions for Marianna, please pop them in the chat or you can raise your hand and unmute. But if you're curious about how the lab could help you, or if there's opportunities, you've got ideas and you'd like to reach out, you can ask any questions in the chat. Don't know if they've got any questions yet, Marianne. We'll see. Maybe. Okay.
That will come by email, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay, so then I have a question for everyone. If you were at one of the global partner meetings, if you attended any of them, can you give me a little yes in the chat? If you were at any, there was one in Brindisi, one in Accra, one in Kuala Lumpur, one in Dubai that was a little wet, and there was one in Panama. So give me a little yes if in the chat if you were at any of the global partners meetings. See some people. Were you at any of them, Marianna?
I was in Brindisi.
Ah, nice. Okay.
And I actually see some of the names there, they were in Brindisi too.
Ah, some people were with you. Nice. Yeah. I was in the one in Dubai and Kuala Lumpur with Gonzalo. Okay, so if any of you were at the Global Partners meetings, you might remember we looked at human-centered design as a methodology to think outside of the box, to find innovative solutions to some of the shared problems and challenges that we have in the humanitarian community with emergency preparedness and response. And you all gave loads of brilliant ideas and suggestions, and you might be wondering what happened to them. So we're going to tell you a little bit about 3 of the ideas that came out are going to go into a fabulous new program that Mariana and our friends at the Innovation Accelerator have been working towards. And I'd love, Jose, if you're there, would you like to come and say hi?
Sure. Hey, Rana. I'll try to go through these minutes without coughing. So sorry, I'm recovering from some kind of flu, but I'll try. I might have to stop and drink some water, but it's great to be here. Hopefully to see more faces if they dared to turn on their cameras, but it's okay. We can deal with the darkness.
You can see me. I'll show you my face, okay? So, Jose, you're from the Innovation Accelerator.
Exactly. So I'm from the Innovation Accelerator. I think I've met some of you either at the GPMs. I was in Dubai as well. I've been also in some of the Initiate workshops. And I'm part of the leadership team of the Innovation Accelerator here in Munich. I've been with WFP for 5 years now. And seeing how this great collaboration with UNHRD and its partners has grown over the last 2 years. So happy to share how all the learnings from the last 2 years are shaping into something that we hope it will be meaningful and where we also need the help of many of the people that are in this call.
Well, I mean, welcome. Delighted you could join us, even when you're sick. And we'd love to hear a little bit about this innovation program that you guys have been working on.
Sure. So if you don't mind, I'll share screen.
Go for it.
Because that's always better. Let me get the
Nice. We'll have a little visual.
back together. So before I start, I think super quick about the accelerator. So we're for those of you that don't know us, so we're the innovation unit at WFP. We've been around for next year. It's going to be 10 years. So since 2015. And so in our journey, we've run probably more than, at least external acceleration programs, more than 30. We have a portfolio of innovations of more than 300 innovations in different parts of the world. We have different units at the accelerator. I won't get into it. A unit that is very dedicated to WFP internal innovations. Another unit that is very dedicated at innovations across the humanitarian sector. And this is, let's say, the space where UNHRD and us, as being part of the same WFP family, have been engaging very closely. So let me get quickly into the journey, and I'll do my best to summarize 2 years of learnings into a little bit of a story on how we got here to where we are today. I mean, you all have had different levels of engagement in these last 2 years with different innovation initiatives that we've had. You heard quickly about Initiate. So Initiate is this collaboration between UNHRD and WHO and other partners in the health cluster, where the goal was in 1 year to get one innovation from idea to an innovation tested in the field. I remember about 2 years ago when there was this session of picking 1 out of 5 innovations, and in the background we were saying hopefully they won't pick the IDTM integrated. Help me out here, I always forget, but it's for you, for all of you that don't know, it's basically a modular hospital, to put it lightly, and these are the pictures that you see here on the top. So basically we went, in the end it was not 1 year, it was a bit longer. and all, with the collaboration from many. We were here just designing a journey and hosting the space. And basically we went from post-its on a workshop setting with logisticians, managers, medical doctors. You can imagine how little skeptical they were about having a workshop with post-its. And we went from that to testing it on a parking lot somewhere in Germany, to an actual tested facility in the field. There was a bigger field test a couple of weeks ago in Accra. So all the ideas and the learnings that we got from that, and seeing, all the challenges, successes, lessons learned from this experience, led us to think, okay, how can we replicate this? How can we systematically together discover and create innovations in a meaningful way? So we started having this idea already about more than a year ago, where we felt, okay, there has to be a systematic way of doing this, of replicating this model. So that takes us to the little two pictures. You've heard already Ron and Walid talk about the GPM. Maybe most of you were part of one of the GPMs that we did earlier this year. So we basically, in I think 3 weeks or 2 weeks even, we did the same type of workshop in all the UNHRD hubs in 5 different locations around the world, to try to hear and understand better what could be the common challenges amongst the different partners, already with the idea that we wanted to start creating an innovation acceleration program to collectively challenge these needs. So this has been, among many others and many workshops and ideation moments in different places in the world, what is taking us to this moment today. As good human-centered designers, we always start with a question. So the question we've been thinking about and addressing as a group is, how might we co-discover, and the co is very important here because we take it very seriously, co-discover and co-create sustainable innovations that improve the lives of people affected by humanitarian crisis. So this is the question that is leading us now to some answers, and I'll make a little pause here because I think also to demystify what we mean by innovation, and Mariana gave already a description of innovation. A lot of people want to think that innovation is about technology and fancy things and fancy toys. We absolutely don't see it like that. For us, innovation, to put it in very simple words, it always starts by solving a problem. If we're not solving a problem, we don't consider it innovation in a way that is replicable and scalable at practical costs. There are many definitions of innovation out there, some more sophisticated than others. This is the one that we believe in, which is very tightly linked to a human-centered design as a method that we really believe in. So if we get into what do we mean, and I will be quick about this, I should probably ask if you were part of GPM, if you remember the human-centered design phases. You probably remember some colorful hexagons. But when we think about, and I'll go to the phases of the program in a moment and how all of you can be involved. But basically what we want to do together is validating these 4 elements. So once we identify a problem, we start with the desirability. So are we solving a critical problem that is worthy of our efforts? The next one is the feasibility. Do we have a solution that is technically sound? Then very important, then we move into the scalability. So it's important to solve a problem once, but it's more important to be able to solve that problem 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, as many times as is needed in an effective way. So that's when we look at the scalability. And in this whole process, of course, we look at the viability. Do we have a model that is financially viable? So everything that we do, and we keep iterating this process as well, and this is what we would do together if we identify there's a problem and a potential innovation to solve it, evolves around these principles. And then if we bring everything together, and I'm getting closer and closer to what the program is going to do. So we take those 4 elements, desirability, feasibility, viability, and scalability. And then depending on where the problem is and the potential solutions that are out there, we design a program that targets where the solution should be and where should we take it with the support that we want to provide. So in this case, for the problems that we're identifying, we will probably be looking at solutions that have some kind of proof of concept. So the innovation program that we are launching next year, it won't be about starting ideation from scratch on a piece of paper, but really identifying things that are already out there, regardless of where they're coming from. If they're coming from a startup, from another NGO, from academia, we don't care. We just want to find solutions that can solve these problems and adapt them to our specific needs. And when I say our specific needs, I mean our specific needs as a community, as a network. So we will be somehow looking at bringing proof of concepts, let's say somewhere, and I won't describe the whole framework, from problem solution fit to having it ready to be deployed in the field. So the program will aim at validating all the necessary elements also from a technical perspective with the support of the UNHRD lab, from the deployment perspective with the support from one or various implementing partners, and our support from a viability and innovation perspective to make sure that the solutions are ready to be deployed across different locations, with everything that involves. So all the readiness that Mariana described before, right? Including looking into procurement elements of this. So we really want to design a program that is very practical, that we can all activate, and with time build a library of new or better solutions to the problems that we're all concerned about. So now getting into the program, that's the type of solutions. Now I'm stepping back to look at the program and then moving into how you can get involved. So we have been co-creating these phases with the lab and others, where we will start with a discovery phase. So the GPM, you could say, it was part of the discovery phase. Then we will launch a call for innovations. This is already the mobilize phase, so the moment where we put ourselves out into the world to start looking for solutions and potential partners. Then we will start doing matchmaking of solution providers, potential implementing partners, and others that may want to support with technical resources to come together in a catalyze phase. And then from the catalyze phase, here we will already have in-person moments. So we will have a boot camp, which is an in-person experience of about 1 week, and some other online moments. So the catalyze phase, you can imagine maybe a 3-month period with some online meetings and a more intense in-person moment. And the outcome of the catalyze phase for the teams that come to us, solutions and its little ecosystem of collaborators, is to come out with a defined path to scale. So what would this solution need in order to scale, to go from a potential solution to a solution that is ready to go in the field? And some of those path to scales, we will be able to support them with our acceleration phase, and others maybe can be supported by others, right? And this is what we really want to do, to create the space that has many ways to scale innovation. So the accelerate phase will be exactly that. So it will be an engagement between implementing partners to support with implementing support, UNHRD lab to support with all the technical validations on ourselves, to help these solutions advance on their path to scale and their maturity, like I described before. And while doing all of that, working on very specific innovations, in parallel, we will also work on what do other elements that we can do as a community to create the right conditions for these innovations to scale. And that has a lot of these things, we are, how's that phrase, Roanna? Do the path while walking, or there's a very nice phrase that...
Rumi, it's the path appears as you start walking.
Yeah, so we're really embracing this mentality because we've proved that we can do it by now in the last 2 years. So we don't have all the answers, but we're hoping to have all the answers together. So I describe what we want to do at innovation level, what we want to do from a programmatic perspective, the phases of the program. Now, based on GPM, these 5 workshops that we did in all over the world, I don't know, it was probably 120 organizations that joined. We identified some patterns. So there were some patterns in the different GPMs, and those patterns led us to what we're calling the thematic areas for 2025. And the goal of this program is to have a very dynamic process where these themes and our priorities are adapted as well based on what we hear from you. So based on those patterns, we landed on 3 big areas: waste management, WASH, and a third area on personal resilience, which is more about, there were a lot of topics around how can aid be more personalized and more human-centered. So we're trying to capture any solutions that may be out there that we don't know that exist in this third area. I think waste management and WASH are more specific and clearer, but we recognize, okay, there's a clear pattern on how to make this more personalized for the people that we're trying to enable. So that's the third bucket around personal resilience in emergencies. And having these 3 big areas in mind, and they will also evolve throughout the year based on available funding and so on. Right now, what we are going to launch already in the first quarter of 2025 is a challenge around plastic waste, which is linked to the first area of waste management. So this is something that we can already do and start and make this program a reality. Understanding now, hopefully, the program that we want to do and that we're launching a challenge in 2025 around plastic. Work also through the lab and Mariana, there's going to be an expression of interest where we will see who could be interested to engage. And right now we have these 3 potential levels of engagements. Co-championing, this is more contributing with advice, strategic support or advocacy. More details to come. Co-innovating, how can you contribute with knowledge or technical skills? And co-implementing. Would you be interested in actually adopting the potential outcome solutions of the program and help to implement alongside the program? So 3 levels of engagement, pretty different, and we'll have more sessions to clarify, make it clearer. Co-championing, co-innovating, co-implementing. Again, expression of interest will be launched soon, and yes, don't worry, if you tick the box, it doesn't mean, it might mean that we're absolutely calling you. It doesn't mean that you are committing yet to be part of the program, but it would be very important for us to know if you are interested. So Mariana, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add around this
Yeah, I
expression.
would say exactly. I mean, it would be really fantastic if you could please answer to our expression of interest, because we really want this stage to be able to map who's there and who's interested, and to have a sort of verification of, the actual need that you put up there during the GPM. So for us, it's a mapping exercise at this stage, and then we will definitely get back to you in the first quarter of next year, depending on who answer, to form the real team that want to be more actively involved in the program. So I guess you received expression of interest by this week, and we really look forward to have your answers there. Thank you.
Nice. So I think that's it, Rana.
Great, thank you. And Jose, we had a little question in the chat, just asking, would it be like a training boot camp?
So it's a good question. So we call it it's a mix. So when we do these experiences, we look at 4 different elements that would be present. It's not only training. So there will be learning elements, absolutely, but a lot of co-creating elements. And by that, I mean, we will look at those 4 areas that I described. So user research, product roadmap, technical feasibility, business model. So there is a training element in learning about these things, but always landed in the specific solution and really ideating around the real solution. So we would call that rather co-creating. Of course, then we enable the space for networking. And then there will also be a moment of showcasing the solutions to potential partners and so on. So it's not only training, So it's a blended experience of, I'll repeat, learning, co-creation, networking, and visibility. So it's a mix. It's not testing with real users, for sure not. It's still a protected, let's say, workshop environment where we will have access to facilities because it's UNHRD, but it's not only a training experience. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Taufik, do you want to unmute?
Yes, thank you so much actually for this presentation. Yeah, I mean, you have answered the question. It's really good to the point. Thank you so much. I was just wondering that, you know, because it's like an advocacy or kind of like training boot camp, maybe there will be like high level of engagement if there are some kind of like resources and training like materials shares into, I mean, into the pointing out these 4 elements, 4 different elements, and you know, it's just increasing the level of engagement, and I think it will be like kind of attracting the attentions of people who would like to join. Yeah, that's one thing about actually the reason behind my question. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Taufik. I'm seeing nodding. Anyone want to respond?
May I jump in? So
Yeah,
I
sure.
think, I mean, what we are imagining and is to provide partners with the possibility of joining into this experience, putting our support also in terms of facilities, organizational events, and so on. So the co-implementation is really something that will be worked out together, but making sure that we put the partners in a position where they could participate in their capacity, let's say.
Great, thanks, Mariana. Jose, anything you would like to add?
No, I think it was good to hear also the feedback and the thought. Yeah, thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, so there's 3 possible ways that people could get involved. That's right, yeah? So they could be a co-championing, was it co-implementing, and co-innovating?
Exactly.
Okay, so people, I'm gonna launch a little question here and see. Hopefully you can see a little poll appearing on your screen. Can you? You give me a little thumbs up. I'm seeing nodding. Which are you curious about at the moment? We're not going to hold you to it. I'd just love to see which one are you kind of like, oh, I'd like to know more about that one. And have a little answer in the poll and we see which ones are you curious about? Which way might you want to be involved or your organization be involved in this new innovation program? Okay, seeing answers coming in. Okay. Final second. Place your votes, place your votes. Okay. So, can you see? Okay, so Mariana, Jose, got a lot of love for co-implementing and co-innovating, and a little bit of interest in co-championing. Thank you everyone for sharing. Helpful for us just to have an idea. If you have any other questions, anything you'd love to ask our speakers, you can either pop your hand up or you can write your questions in the chat and let us know. Or were they so wonderful? They told you everything you needed to know already.
Well, can I just comment on the results with the question we just asked? I think it looks fantastic to see that we have a very good interest in the co-implementing part. I'm very excited because I know already that on the core innovation point of view, I mean, among all your groups, there's so many experts with lots of skills and knowledge, but also to see that there is a wish to be part of the co-implementation is very, very exciting and positive. Thanks for that.
Nice. Okay, great. Thanks. And so we've had the spotlight on the lab and on the innovation program with Jose from the accelerator. We'd love to turn the spotlight on you guys and give you a little chance to speak to each other, and just introduce yourselves and share what innovations either are you aware of or you're curious about. And we're going to give you just 5 minutes in breakout rooms in a moment, just to introduce yourselves so you can have a chat with each other. And you're sharing what innovations are you curious about, okay? So it could be an innovation that you've heard of or that maybe your organization's working on, but we're just a little 5 minutes, okay? So you get a chance to speak with each other, okay? Any questions before we open up the breakout rooms? If you're not sure on what on earth you're to do. So it's introduce yourselves, and then what innovations are you curious about? Okay, and we'll see how you get on. Okay, so just 5 minutes, and rooms are opening now. If you have any issues, if you don't get a pop-up, then let us know and we can add you. But hopefully, you're all getting invited to breakout rooms now. Okay, welcome back. How did you get on? People in your rooms? Seeing a little thumbs up. Nice. Any questions that came up from your discussions that you'd love to check now that you've had a little moment to speak to each other? No, it's all good. I see a little hand. Tawfiq, tell me.
Yes, thank you so much. Actually, we were in a room, and Walid has elaborated also more about the co-innovation. So I think we look forward actually to be participating in the new life program or the boot camp that would like leverage actually the capacities in terms of like implementing new innovative ideas in terms of implementing, you know, on the ground, let's say.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Glad to hear it. Anything else that came up from your discussions that you might want to share? Yeah, Diana.
I'm on mute. Yeah, fine. So I was lucky to be with some HRD colleagues, and something quite interesting came up. One of our new colleagues in Dubai actually was looking at things a little bit differently because he's just recently from private sector. Raised an interesting point about development training, which is part of the innovations. So even if we do innovations, we need to aspire to make sure that the people we serve are actually ready and well trained to be able to continue that innovation in the future to help themselves. So eventually we have the fact that they don't need us in a few years. We're out of a job, which is the best aspiration that we can aspire for as humanitarians.
Yes, brilliant. Love it. Thanks for sharing. Anything else that came up in your chats? What do we have? Oh, we have a little question here. Thanks, Nesreen. When do you expect the work to start on the WASH thematic area? We've highlighted a gap on the WASH relief items during the stock task force meetings. So a little question to our speakers. When do you expect the work to start on the WASH thematic area?
Let's say that we started already, and what we are doing is actually trying to go deeper and refine further which are exactly those gaps to focus on, you know, a very specific product or item that we could look into. So definitely the work you've been doing with the Stock Task Force, it's a great support and help. And we are also getting in contact with all the partners that work on WASH to get their experience and to really get from there understanding the needs and areas where we could focus on. So at the moment, we bring in further exactly this research to refine the identification of the future product in this area.
Okay, so watch this space. More information coming soon. And for those of you who are interested in becoming one of those co-champions, co-implementers, co-innovators, more information will be sent out to you on email so that you can do that little expression of interest, and we would love to have you involved. So that's going to be winging its way to your inbox. Hopefully this week is the plan. Okay. So big thank you to Mariana and Jose and Gonzalo from the Innovation Accelerator for joining us today. Absolute pleasure to hear all about what you've been up to. Walid, any final words before we say bye to each other?
Yeah, I mean, I have the feeling that this was a great moment for the community to understand a little bit better what the lab is up to and what is UNHRD, with the help of in the co-partnership with the Innovation Accelerator, can bring to the community in terms of innovation. I think you've heard it from Jose. There's a big emphasis on the co-working on these initiatives. What we learned from the Initiate project is definitely the fact that the different perspectives and the different view lenses that people bring to the table are essential for the process to be effective. You need that cross-pollination of experiences for that process of innovation to really be able to answer to the needs of the community. So the buy-in from the community over those challenges that we'll be launching next year, starting from the one around waste management and plastic, is the first and fundamental step for the process to be successful. The community needs to engage on what we have seen during the GPMs to be thematics that are important across the board and across the various organizations. So we've gauged that first interest. What we are trying to do here is to provide the partners with a platform and methodology for them to be able to dissect, unpack those challenges, and work with the community through the methodologies that we have in place in order to find solutions to these challenges that were voiced out. So the engagement of the community is key. There is clearly a need for certain players within the community to drive some of this engagement, like it happened in Initiate. WHO was key in rallying up the health community around the IDTM project. We will need these co-champions entities that will help also to rally the communities around that specific thematic. But we're confident that we have a service offer that will provide the community at the end of its journey with a solution that can be utilized in this very specific moment that we're all interested in improving, which is how to best serve and provide solutions to the affected populations that we are meant to assist during a crisis.
Yeah.
So you will hear more from us about this, as Mariana suggested. There will be an expression of interest that will be circulated in the next couple of days that tells you more about some of the topics that we've discussed today. They'll go a little bit into more focus, and we'll certainly look forward to hear back from you and to form this cohort of co-champions, co-innovators, or co-implementers that will be required for the first challenge to see itself through. So thank you again for your time, and stay tuned, I would say. Yeah.
Thanks, Walid. So everyone, I'd love to invite you to unmute and say bye in whatever is your mother tongue, and we look forward to seeing you in 2025. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you so
مع
much.
السلامة.
Bye.
Bye.
مع
Ciao.
السلامة.
Salam.
Very much.
في أمان الله.
Bye.
Bye.
Au revoir.